All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year again. I will be doing my NFL playoff predictions. And let's just jump straight into this with the Buccaneers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. This game was one of the harder ones for me to predict because both of these teams haven't been playing. The Bucks are definitely a lot of hotter team right now. The Eagles have been playing like trash recently. So this one was a little bit harder for me to predict. However, the injury to A.J. Brown, and I don't know what's happening with Jalen Hurts' finger. However, I am going to pick the Buccaneers to win this game. As much as I want to pick the Eagles, I can't see myself doing it, especially if A.J. Brown does not play. So I have the Bucks moving on, and then the next matchup is the Lions and the Rams. And now this one hurts because I want to see Detroit win their first playoff game in a very long time. However, the Rams are one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and I think that their momentum carries in to the game against the Lions, and I see this game being an absolute shootout. And unfortunately, I have the Rams beating the Lions on the road. It sucks, but I just think the Rams are a very, very hot team, and that's just going to carry on into Detroit. Next up, we have Dallas taking on the Packers. And as a Packers fan, this is very, very cool. No matter what happens in this game, I don't care if we get blown out by 30. This was our rebuild year, and we made the playoffs. We found that Jordan Love is the guy, so no matter what happens in this playoff game, this year was a success. However, I am going to be taking Dallas. It would be very hard to root against Dallas at home. They are undefeated this season at home, but do not be surprised if the Packers come in and beat Dallas on the road. Historically, the Packers own Dallas in the playoffs, and I think the Packers match up very well with the Cowboys. The Cowboys' rush defense has struggled a little bit the past couple weeks, and the Packers can definitely run the ball. Next up, we have Houston taking on the Browns, and this one also sucks. I love both these teams. I love C.J. Stroud. I love that Flacco is making a return. However, it's the defense for me. The Browns have the number one defense in the league, and it is going to carry them to the divisional round. And I see this game being like a 24 to 10 game. Like, as much as I love C.J. Stroud and love the Texans offense, the Browns defense is just so much better that they're going to make it very hard for the Texans, and the Browns are going to cruise right into the divisional round. Next up, we have Chiefs taking on the Dolphins, and this was the second hardest game to predict, just behind the Buccaneers-Eagles game, because I said last week that both of these teams were going to be first-round exits. Well, they're playing each other in the first round, which means one of them has to move on. Which one is it going to be? I believe it's going to be the home team that is going to get the job done. Why is that? Well, one, Arrowhead is a very, very tough place to go in and play. Two, the weather is going to be absolutely terrible. It's going to be like below 10 degrees and snowing, which obviously the Dolphins are from Miami. They're not used to that. And I feel like that is going to seriously affect Tua. And I think I saw a stat the other day that Tua's like 0 for 6 in games where the temperature is below freezing. So I'm going to have to take the Chiefs at Arrowhead. And then I think the easiest matchup of the day, the Bills should steamroll the Steelers. I mean, it's Mason Rudolph. He doesn't have the playoff experience. Josh Allen does. And the Bills should steamroll themselves to the divisional round. Going back to the NFC side of things, we have the Rams and the 49ers. And this one is also a very hard matchup to predict because the divisional matchups are just different. These teams know each other better. They play each other 2 times a year, and then in this case, it would be a 3rd time a year. But I think the Rams get first rounded. The 49ers get first rounded. The Rams move on to the championship. I think Stafford is playing at such a high level right now, and that entire Rams roster is playing very well. They are very hot, and I think their high-powered offense carries them to the championship past the Niners. And this next one's super easy. The Cowboys should steamroll the Bucs. It should be super easy for them. The Bucs are not very good. I think they got lucky with the Eagles. The Eagles are very bad right now. I think the Bucs are going to get a lucky win there. However, going into Dallas, Dallas is undefeated at home. They're going to get the job done, and it should be like a 30-3 game. I feel like it's going to be a blowout if this matchup does actually happen. Next up is a rematch that I cannot wait to see if this does happen. This is literally the best matchup probably that I am looking forward to, and it would be the Chiefs taking on the Bills in Buffalo. And this was also a more of a difficult game to predict. However, I am going to take the Bills for two reasons. One, the Chiefs have been awful this year. And two, the Bills are red hot right now. And it's in Buffalo. So I'm going to take Buffalo over Kansas City. Now, this matchup, the Browns versus Ravens, I really want to see. And I actually have the Browns beating the Ravens because it is a divisional matchup. And I believe that the Browns are the only team in the AFC right now that will stand a chance against Baltimore. And I believe if the Browns beat the Texans and both the Chiefs and the Bills win, this will be the worst case scenario for the Ravens. And I think the Browns get the job done there. Now, going back to the NFC side, we have Rams versus Cowgirls. This might shock you. I know the Cowboys are undefeated at home, but they're going to take their first home loss to the LA Rams. Call me crazy, but I didn't want to just go in here and pick the number 1 or number 2 seed. I wanted to spice things up a bit, so we're going with the 6-seeded Rams to make the playoffs. I know I probably, if I'm not going with the Rams, I probably am going with the Niners to make the playoffs. However, I'm very confident in Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp to get the job done. Back in the AFC, we've got the Browns taking on the Bills, and I'm just going to be honest. I know Bills Mafia, it's going to be a home game in Buffalo, AFC Championship to finally cement Josh Allen and get him into the Super Bowl. The Browns are going to come into Buffalo and beat you guys, and it's honestly going to feel like a blowout because this Browns defense is legit, and Josh Allen is going to struggle even if it's a home game. Now, this is going to be a very interesting Super Bowl. We have the LA Rams taking on the Cleveland Browns, and both of these teams are very similar. Two high-powered offenses. Both quarterbacks are going to make plays. They're going to throw touchdowns, but they're both going to throw picks. However, it comes down to one thing, and that is the defense. Ladies and gentlemen, my prediction for your Super Bowl champion is going to be the Cleveland Browns. I think their number 1 defense carries them all the way to the Super Bowl and to the win, and I think Joe Flacco does just enough to make them win. He's going to throw multiple touchdowns, but he's going to throw an interception or two. And that's how I see the 2023 to 2024 NFL playoffs. I don't know, man. I'm really high on the Browns. And that's all I've got for you guys today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And I guess we'll check back after the playoffs and see how bad this was. Peace out, everybody.